Okay, so I don't want you to try and do this with me. I want you to just watch. I am going to videotape this and post it up on my tutorials page if you get lost. So first thing is, when I look at a part like this, I would check the units. So what units is this in? Inches. So I'm going to use the part inches template.
What page is that again?
Page 3-88. Okay, the next thing is, I want you to understand that this is not how I want to see it dimensioned in your drawing. There are a bunch of errors here. You've got dimensions to center lines, you've got dimensions that are not to between views. So do not, if you have me in a drawing that looks like the drawing on page 3-88, you will not get a good grade. Okay, I'm going to tell you that right now. Alright, so I'm looking at this part. I want you to think about your design process as you're getting your assignments, because your parts are only going to get harder and harder as the term goes on. Okay, if you think you're feeling a little underwater now, it only gets worse. Alright, so I'm looking at this part. I wanted to walk you through the thought process. I look at this part and I see two basic features, the bottom plate and the cylindrical tube. So I say, which feature do I want to make first? I'm going to make the bottom plate first, because that seems to be the most basic feature, and I can leverage the bottom face geometry to make and locate my cylinder. Yes?
Is that a rule of thumb, starting with the most basic?
Yes. 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 That's why I'm walking you through my thought process, so that you can kind of see how you would do it. Next thing is, I'm looking at that base plate. That's going to be my most basic feature. So now I have to figure out which work plane I'm going to want to use. And to create the isometric view, like the one you see in the top right, I would put the base plate on that profile on the top plane. Okay, so I'm going to start on the top plane. And again, I don't want you to do this with me. I want you to just watch so you can learn some tricks. The next thing is, I can do this using a center rectangle. If I use a center rectangle, I can center it around the origin, and I can leverage some of this symmetry. Notice the two ears are symmetrical. So I'm going to select the center rectangle. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make my rectangle. Okay, I'm going to dimension it out. This is 4 inches. Thank you, 2 inches. 2 inches. Okay, so I've got that. Now I want to create my ears. Okay, for my ears, because I've got a line of symmetry, I can actually place a center line and use that for my mirror tool. Okay, I could use the dynamic mirror tool like we've done, or I can just sketch it and mirror it. I'm just going to sketch it and mirror it. So I'm just going to draw a circle up here. And remember, I tend to, this is just my rule of thumb, I tend to make things bigger and place them, and then after I've placed them, I'll dimension them and make it work. So I've got some issues. I want to add a relationship between this endpoint and this arc, and I'm going to make it coincident, but I also want it to be tangent. If I trim it out, okay, I want to make sure that this arc and this line are tangent, and this already has a tangent. And the other thing I want is, I want this point and the origin to have a vertical. That's going to ensure that it's going to be lined up. So notice The other thing I do is I always add my geometric constraints first, and then I add my size constraints. Because a lot of times those geometric constraints are going to help control what I do as I add dimensions. So this dimension right here is 0.375. In the book it says 0.38. That's just because of your units of measure. So now I'm going to mirror it about. So I say entities to mirror. I'm going to mirror that, and I'm going to mirror it about the center line. And notice you've got a copy. Okay, that becomes kind of a cool trick. Let's say I put it on the wrong side. It happens a lot. I look at things upside down all the time. I didn't want to copy it. I just wanted to flip it. I could uncheck the copy, and that would flip it to the other side, and I wouldn't have to redraw it. So it's kind of a trick. So in this case, I do want to copy, and I want to mirror it about this center line that I created. Notice it previews for me, and I green check. There it is. I'm going to trim here, right? And then I'm going to add a dimension between here and here, and that's going to be 2.5. And you'll notice at this point it says fully defined. Alright, now I haven't added any of the fillets, and I'm just going to keep it with, I'm going to do the fillets as features, not as part of the sketch. Okay, so now I'm going to come over to features. I'm going to go to an isometric view. Now I look at where how the angle is on that tube. Do you see how that angle is on that tube? Yeah. It's based from the top of the plate, not from the bottom of the plate. Do you see that? Yeah. So what I want to do is I'm going to extrude down, not up. Okay, and that becomes really critical because so I'm going to flip it so it's going down, and once again I'm going to make it 0.375. Okay, green check. Okay, now I've got two different fillets. One's 0.31 and one's 0.25. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to say 0.31, and my 0.31 fillets are here, 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 and here. And my 0.25 fillets are around the ears. Oops, not that face. Notice that if I pick the wrong thing, I don't start over, I don't cancel, I don't undo, I just delete that selection. Okay, because otherwise, you know, you're wasting time. Done. Now I'm going to tell you right now, and if you're paying attention, that's good. I'm going to call this EX3.8. Okay, and I'm going to call it tube-2 and save it. If you try to add the fillets, the 0.25 fillets in your sketch, it won't work. Okay, so you got to do it as a feature.
I was just about to ask, could you do it as an arc, tangent arc?
It won't work. It'll give you an error because it'll say it's too short. Okay? Question? Well, you gave it that 2.5 dimension, so no, that's not why. It just doesn't like it, because it basically eliminates the line. You won't have a line left, you'll just have an arc when you do the fillet, so that's what it doesn't like.
Something with a bigger fillet, you could do.
If you did a smaller fillet, then it would let you do it in the sketch, but not a bigger fillet, okay? So now we've got the tube. Here's the trick, and you want to be watching this. It's an angled cylinder. So I'm going to place it on a reference plane. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go plane. You're going to want to watch this. My first reference is going to be this top face. My second reference is going to be this front edge. Notice it gives me a preview of the plane. I want to angle it, and I want to angle it. Notice it says the angle is 60. I'm going to click 60. And then I'm going to switch to a front view. And the reason why I want to switch to a front view is so that I can look at it and see if that's indeed the angle that I want. Do you see that? If I'm not sure, I might say, okay, what if I did 30? And I say, no, 30's too much, so it must be 60. Okay, and 60 is good. All right, so there's my plane. And then I'm going to select on that plane, I'm going to do a sketch. And notice on that sketch I have an origin. And I'm going to create my circle and I'm going to make it coincident to my origin. Okay? And then that cylinder is 1.25 in diameter. Okay, so see where it is in relationship on that angled plane? And then I'm going to go feature, I'm going to do an extrude, but instead of blind, I'm going to say up to surface. I'm going to select this face. Ooh, green check. See that? Nice, yes? And then I'm going to hide the plane. Look at that. And then I'm just going to double check. Does this look like what I see? Yes, it does. Okay? So as I go, I'm going to look at the drawing and compare to see if I've got it. See that? All right? So now the only thing left to do is to add the hole that goes in here. All right? And I have holes in the ears too. So first I'm going to place a hole here. I can use the hole wizard or I can do an extrude. I want to use an extrude because I want to do an extrude up to the face. I don't want it to go through. So I'm going to do a sketch again. I'm going to do a little circle. Okay. I'm going to smart dimension it. And my hole is 0.75. And this time I'm going to do an extruded cut up to surface and select that face. See that? So now when I do a top view, if I do a hidden line, see how it looks compared to the drawing? Nice? Okay, so now I'm going to go back to an isometric view. I'm going to go back to shaded with edges. I just have 2 holes left. Those I can place using the hole wizard.
Actually 3 hole, right? The base also has a hole. The base.
Yeah, I'm going to add the holes to the ears.
Oh, that through. It looks.
Okay.
It looks like the two goes through the plate, but it doesn't.
Right,
Yeah.
right. 2 holes.
So to see that, you would just look for the shaded lines and
Right.
see that
Yeah.
continue running.
Right, right. So in this case, it's going to be ANSI inch. It's going to be a straight drilled hole, not a tapped hole. And these holes are 0.375. So I come over, I look for 3/8. There's a 3/8 hole, and they're going through all. And then to locate them, I'm going to select this face, and I'm going to place the holes here and here. And I want to add a relationship between this hole and this arc and make it concentric, and this hole and this arc and make it concentric. See that? Then that's fully defined. Green check.
How would you like it to if you want custom or for a certain distance you want?
They went through all. So I look at this and I compare it to the drawing, and it matches. And then I look at the front view, and it matches. I am good to go. It took me roughly 5 minutes to make this part, and that's with talking and answering your questions. Okay? So you've got an hour, hour and a half to do your 2 assembly drawings in this part and the drawing for it, right? Question.
Looks like you still need a radius on the upper edge.
Oh, a little, yeah, R.06 fillet, thank you. Okay, so I need a little fillet on this top edge. So I come over to fillet, I change it to .06, thank you very much. If I select, notice if I click on tangent propagation and I just select one edge, it just goes all the way around, and then all I have to do is green check. Nice? Okay? All right, so time for you guys. Anna?
I was just wondering how you would create that angled cylinder if the plane that it was kind of cut by didn't happen to coincide with the edge there.
I would have to maybe add some other reference planes. Remember, I can always leverage off of any of these reference planes. Okay? So I may have to create more reference planes to get to where I need to be. But if I can leverage off of an existing feature, which is one more reason why you want to start with that base first, because then you can leverage off that geometry. Okay? But that's a good question. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you give us the correct dimension? Because the book will run out.
I just use .375 instead of .38. That's, you know. Okay?
So it's okay to follow the book?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes.
Are you bringing the drawings today?
If you like. You don't have to. I won't make you. I won't force you. It's totally up to you. Some people have already given me homework. I'm going to be grading it over the weekend, and then they'll get red lines back, and they'll be able to improve their grades depending on how they do. Okay? I have had some students who will wait until the very last week of the semester to hand me all their work. I don't recommend that as an approach, but you're certainly welcome to do that. Okay? That's totally up to you, right? You are in control of how well you do in this class. You have all the responsibility. Okay? All right? Get to work. If you have any questions, make sure to problems ask Ron.